Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Like it or not, we are all content creators now. I mean, how many links do we send through emails, SMS, WhatsApp and social media every day? But in a visual world, it seems that even the humble link is looking incredibly dated with that line of underlined blue text. But I recently discovered a startup based here in Manchester in the UK called Wakelet, and I think it's got an amazing potential. Wakelet allows you to save and organise links all from the web into collections. And essentially you can save articles, videos, images, tweets, and pretty much anything with a URL. Now, as someone that has a vast amount of content through articles and podcasts across multiple industries, what attracted me to this platform is that it allows me to visually showcase all of my edtech, fintech, cryptocurrency content, all in individual boxes. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about this show, but trust me when I say it's a fantastic episode and one of my favourite shows that I've recorded. So buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Manchester here in the UK so we can speak with Misbah, who is going to tell us more about how Google may help you find content, but Wakelet will help you organise it. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
So my name is Misbah, and I look after marketing and growth at Wakelet. I joined the company during its first round of funding and have been there ever since. And yeah, it's been an incredible journey so far. Every day I sort of manage the marketing side of things and growth, and look for different sectors to target. And yeah, it's been pretty incredible.
Now, my understanding is Wakelet allows you to save and organise links from the web into collections. So you can save articles, videos, images, tweets, and pretty much anything with a URL. But for anyone that's hearing about Wakelet for the very first time on this podcast, can you offer a bit of an overview of what you can do with it, and also what makes it unique from other solutions out there, just so they can visualise what they can do with it?
Sure. So when you look at this from 35,000 feet, you can see where there's other products that can seem quite similar. Mm-hmm. And in fact, this is generally one of the challenges that a lot of startups face today. There's so much of the same sounding thing out there that it sometimes becomes quite difficult to explain the difference, especially in just a single sentence. But for us, the key differentiator lies in our vision and the way that we've executed that, both visually and technically. And it's kind of very clear when you look at the diverse ways that people, businesses, athletes, academic institutions, the way that they're already using the platform, you can tell that there's something there that transcends just bookmarking or saving pictures. It's a bit richer than that. So beyond just saving links, Wakelet lets you organize, curate, and edit content. And it lets you do things like creating fan pages, news pages, microsites, portfolios, plan trips, and so on and so forth. The applications for it are endless.
I know we were speaking a few moments ago before we started the podcast about how you can embed a podcast and videos. Can you just tell me a little bit about that? Because I think that really brings it to life.
Yeah, sure. So on a collection on Wakelet, we call them wakes, and I'll go into that a little bit further into the name of them. But yeah, on a collection, what it essentially allows you to do is take content from any corner of the internet, regardless of what that content is. So it could be a podcast, it could be something from SoundCloud, it could be an Instagram post or a YouTube video, an article, and put that all in one place and create your own narrative, and then share that with the people that matter the most. So essentially, on one page, on one wake, you could be reading an article, go straight down to a YouTube video, play that in line, move to a podcast, have a look at an image, and then just keep going. The possibilities of stuff that you can put into a wake are quite endless. It's really anything that has a URL you can put into a wake. So all of a sudden you can see kind of the power behind that when it comes to trying to tell a story and offer a narrative that goes beyond just text and images, for example.
Now, I believe you've also recently launched another powerful tool at Wakelet called Quick Wait. I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about that as well, or why you think it's going to be a big game changer?
So we've all shared groups of individual links with friends and colleagues, whether that's through email, social media, or messaging. And to be honest with you, they look quite dull. It's just the usual blue text with a line underneath it. And quite often people just don't open them. So if I'm sending an email to a colleague or to a friend, and I'm sending them something that's quite exciting and engaging, that just gets reduced to a line of text with, a URL. And when you're looking at sending, 5, 10, 20 links, that becomes quite dull to look at. It's not very engaging. So the idea was to allow people to easily turn any group of links into a beautiful interactive collection within seconds, without the need of signing up to a new platform. It's just right there on the front page. The use cases for the Quick Wake tool are pretty much endless. So we've already had a lot of feedback from people using it, and the ways that they're using it are ways that we could have never even predicted. So we've got holiday makers using Quick Wake as a way to share holiday plans with just a single link. Students can share resources, and businesses can use it to share thought leadership content, and also just internal things between themselves, PR and whatnot. And then, of course, you could just round up your favorite funny videos, put them into a Quick Wake, and send them to a friend in one link. So I think the idea was turning multiple links into one, regardless of what those links are. The way that interlinks with the Wakelet platform itself is that being on the front page and being the first thing that people see when they go to wakelet.com, I feel like it's a really interesting, nice, quick way to get introduced to curation in general. Because I think that we're all curators, whether or not we think we are or not. Online, if we're saving bookmarks, for example, that's an act of curation. If we're sending 5 links in an email to a colleague, that's an act of curation. But we don't think of it like that. So why not turn that collection into something beautiful and interactive and engaging and colorful? So when they receive one little URL, they click on that. You've already done the work for them. They go through to the Quick Wake, and all of a sudden everything's there in one place under one URL. So it just takes away that dullness, I think. So now that Quick Wake is live, lots of people are using it. We're getting a lot of feedback, and we're finding out the different ways that people are using it. And it's fascinating because we can then, tweak it here and there, refine it, and make it even more useful for people in the future.
So anyone listening to us now talking that arrives on your website, they're instantly going to see that they can plan a trip, create a fan page, playlist, or even a portfolio, all from a URL. But can you just help them visualise what will be waiting for them and when they land on that page, and how they can get the most from Wakelet, and indeed Quick Wake too?
Sure. So if you go to wakelet.com, you'll see the Quick Wake bar, and it's very welcoming, if I don't say so myself. It's just, we wanted to keep it as minimal as possible. So it's just a bar waiting for you to enter a URL. Once you enter that URL, you enter another one. It can be infinite. You can put 5, you can put 10, you can put 100. What our software does is scrape that URL, get all the relevant information. So if there's an image attached to it, a description, anything like that, it scrapes that. When you click create a Quick Wake, that will then give you one URL. Once you go to that URL, you'll see everything in the same order that you've put it in, and it looks very beautiful and very vibrant and very engaging. But behind all of that, there's the Wakelet platform. Once you get onto the Wakelet platform, which is completely free, there's no paywall, you get to the point where you can create a beautiful profile. You can manage your links and collections, reorder them, add cover and background images, edit titles and descriptions, and really create that narrative that you desire. You can also embed collections as well. So if I've created a collection, I can then take an embed code and embed that on my website or my blog or anything that you like. You can message users on Wakelet. You can follow people, like-minded people who have got content that you like, who are curating things that you enjoy reading or watching or listening to. And so there's this kind of very rich, powerful platform that's sort of powering Quick Wake. If you go to something, let's say a URL, there's a really beautiful profile. If you go to wakelet.com/@Phil, you'll find Philip Schuler's profile. Now, Philip is an avid traveler. He's done a lot of traveling in his life. He does a lot of charity work. And what he's done is basically create almost like a travel blog, but there's more to it. He gets involved with political situations, for example, in certain countries, humanitarian aid, and he'll create a collection using pictures that he's taken himself, using experiences that he's had himself, and using notes and a collection of images and maybe some videos that other people have taken. He then creates this beautiful, rich narrative that he can then share with the world. So for users who don't know much about it, there's a lot waiting for them. If you have something that you want to say, if you have a narrative that you want to promote, if you want to promote your own brand, I mean the use cases are endless really. But there's a lot waiting on the site, definitely.
I think you've just given me a big light bulb moment here, because I've got 350 odd podcasts at the moment, all with interviews across multiple industries. So from what you're saying there, I could create a Wake and have all my, let's say, fintech interviews on one way, and then have equally all the edtech ones on another one. Is that how it would work?
100%, Neil. Yeah. So it's funny you mention that. Recently, we've had thousands of journalists using the platform, and what they've been using Wakelet for is for a portfolio. So essentially, what they've been able to do is, let's look at it like this. The web is only getting bigger. It's very, very vast, and there's a lot of content on there. And quite often, you can't just rely on somebody Googling your name for them to get the best results. You want to have some control over it. And it's really important to organize the content that is most important to you and that you think is most important for your fans. So for yourself, exactly, you can organize every single one of your podcasts by date. You can organize them by subject. You can organize them by different types of guests or anything like that, any way that you want. And again, for somebody like a journalist, they've got lots of work all over, many different publications, right at the bottom of their Twitter feed, page 15 of Google. Where are people finding this? Well, why not go to Wakelet, create a free portfolio, collect that content, organize it in any way that you want, make it look really beautiful, really engaging, and then just share it with the world. That becomes your Wakelet profile. It becomes your portfolio. So for someone like yourself, obviously you've got a vast amount of work out there. And when you're looking to organize it, all of a sudden something like Wakelet makes a lot of sense because, you're free to organize it in any way that you want.
Fantastic. I know what I'm going to be doing at the end of this podcast. But I'm curious, though, where did that idea come from? I mean, what's the inspiration behind Wakelet?
Sure. So when Jamil, our founder, was at university, he did a lot of traveling around the world, and he worked at Airbus as well. And he frequently came across, a lot of online content that he wanted to keep and use later. So what he'd do is he'd save this content in bookmark lists or Word documents. And I mean, I've seen some of them now because he's saved them, and they're very long and there's a lot of volume to them, and they're very dull. And they might be practical in the sense that, okay, they're there, but they don't look engaging. They don't stimulate the senses. They don't make people want to look further. So beyond just simply saving content, what he wanted to do was, curate, edit, and share the stuff that he saved in a visual and meaningful way. Whether with Airbus, this was, things to do with suppliers or things to do with certain programs. He wanted to show this in a meaningful way. And there's nothing out there that allowed him to do this in the way that he wanted to. So he decided to, get a few guys together and build Wakelet and, give us the ability to easily collect and organize anything that we read, view, or listen to in a way that's useful to us and others. So yeah, the inspiration behind it, I guess it was a combination of many things. It was a combination of his travels, a combination of situations that he found in work that arise with him wanting to send multiple links. So yeah, there's sort of a lot that went into it. But I think that for us as a company, the general vision is that the Google helps find the world's information, and Wakelet helps organize it. Essentially, it's this idea that search can only do so much. It can only provide a certain amount of context, and we want to kind of give that power to humans in a sense, because we believe that human curation is essentially the future of the web. And we sort of want to be, the first ones to really pioneer it and make it mainstream, if you will.
But what were the biggest challenges and opportunities that you actually faced along the way in bringing this vision to life?
I think that every sort of founder of a startup or any company will agree that it's cash. Cash is crucial to all companies. Ensuring that we're adequately capitalized is critical, especially since we're not actually looking to generate revenue early on. Mm-hmm. And this is the biggest challenge that we face being in Manchester, England. It's not unique to Wakelet. All startups are in the same boat. And what we tend to feel is that the early tech investment ecosystem here it's not as mature as that of, say, Silicon Valley. Investors here don't tend to have a lot of experience in early stage tech startups, and they're generally a lot more risk averse. And what this does is it makes the process of raising capital slower and a little bit more difficult. So yeah, to get off the ground, startups and ourselves, we need to be more creative, get a little bit lucky, and rely on angel investors. And what this does is it forces us to be a bit more frugal and creative, and to plan and prioritize and keep looking to do things better day in and day out. But this is just simply part of the journey. Other challenges, I mean, from an opportunity point of view, there's numerous things. You don't have a lot of time, so you just have to kind of grab opportunities. But for me, I think that the biggest sort of opportunity is the way that Jam set the team up. It's a very inspiring story. Jamil tried to raise capital for Wakelet before we even had a product. And, he was declined by over 100 investors. And, as you can imagine, that's pretty disheartening, but he didn't allow it to affect him. He was very persistent. And, he understood that sometimes things don't work the way you want, but you just have to keep on going. So what he did was he tried to outsource and build the product in India on a shoestring, but it didn't quite work out the way that he wanted it to be. And one day he bumped into a person at the luggage carousel in an airport, and he added him on LinkedIn, connected with him, realized that he was a developer, and he asked him if he wanted to join Wakelet for shares, essentially, to work for free. And this is how he built our initial team, literally via LinkedIn, offering shares and getting everybody invested in this massive vision that he had to really, to change the landscape of curation, to change the landscape of the way that we search for things, the way that we digest content. And I think that was probably an opportunity that had he have not taken, who knows where we would be now. So yeah, it's all been a big adventure from the start, as you can tell.
What a fantastic story, though. I love that startup tenacity that he had there, but equally the universe gave him a little nudge in the right direction when he needed it most.
Yeah. I think that's serendipity. A lot of people tend to not mention it. You have to get lucky in life, I think, especially when it comes to starting businesses. You can do everything completely right, but if you don't have a little bit of luck on your side, you're not going to get where you want to go. And I think that it's nice to be able to have that humility to say, look, you do have to have a little bit of luck when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very inspiring journey. And his story, hopefully, perhaps you could have him on one day and he'll be able to go into it, because it's fascinating, really. It really is, especially given the fact that, we're not in Silicon Valley. We're in Manchester, England. And for us to achieve the stuff that we've achieved, given the circumstances, it's incredible. It really is.
Well, please tell him from me that there's an open invitation to come on here, because I do think that we have a lot of people listening to this show that are on their own startup journey, and they're looking to learn from others along the way. And just hearing there, how he was turned down 100 times, kept going, and then had that little bit of luck.
I think that's the most incredible thing. He's a big sort of proponent of persistence, and I think that what that's done is that's trickled down to the rest of the team as well. So we all on the team, we all act like entrepreneurs, we all act like founders, because we understand that you have to put the hours in, and you have to work very hard, and you have to have that tenacity and not give up, and just keep on trying, even though things might not necessarily seem like they're going great. I'm sure that there are plenty of stories that we'd love to share once we get to that point. And we can all look back and laugh at them, but at the time it really is all about just hanging in there and knowing that everything's going to be okay. And that's something that Jamil does really well, and as an offshoot of that, that's something that we all do really well as well.
So what is your grand vision for Wakelet? I mean, where do you think you can take this, and how do you see it evolving over the next 18 months to 2 years?
We've had a great response to Wakelet so far, and there's a lot of people who are using our platform in really interesting ways, and users are consistently providing really useful feedback. We like to open that door to users and really get in there and understand them. Even having people in the office to have them speak about the way that they're using the product gives us a really good chance to just refine it and get it to a point where it's perfect. And we're currently working on improving things like our onboarding and our usability, to make it as seamless and enjoyable as possible before we add more functionality. But we've got big dreams. As soon as we've made these improvements, we'll focus more on scaling the market activities and make more people aware of what we're doing. I think that we've got truly an incredible product here that it's just a case of people understanding what it does and understanding the power behind it. And honestly, I think that the potential for it is incredible. And yeah, looking over the next 18 months is always a lot less of a challenge than looking at the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, as part of our vision, we want to, like I mentioned before, we want to really change the landscape of curation, because we think that the internet now, everything's very automated, everything's quite robotic, everything's quite dull, and we still believe in humans. We believe that when it comes to making things relevant, when it comes to adding context, when it comes to sharing stories, sharing dreams, sharing passions, you can't get a computer to do that. You can't get an algorithm to do that. It's down to the humans. And so we think that we're giving people that opportunity to take that back into their hands and do something incredible with it.
Now, when I was doing a bit of research on you guys, I quickly noticed that you appeared in the top tech company list of Greater Manchester this year. I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting to be recognised for what we're doing. But, we're more of a heads down company. It's always nice to have recognition and appreciation for the stuff that we're doing. But we still have that humility to understand that there's still a lot left to do. We want to get to the point where we're global, and we're on our way. At the moment we've got users in China, users in Guatemala. It's incredible to see how when we just first started, it was solely, local businesses, local people that we're helping. And in the past year to 2 years, having a look at the analytics, which we love doing, you'll find that, we've got users in China, users in South America, users in Asia, users in Europe, Eastern Europe, and America as well. And yeah, it's incredible to see how many different people are using it. So for us, it's nice to be mentioned in lists like that. But we know that there's still a lot more work to do, and we don't necessarily want to pat ourselves on the shoulder just yet.
Yeah.
We're all extremely driven, and no matter what we achieve, it always seems to not be good enough. So as strange as that sounds, it works.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly trying to drive ourselves and put ourselves in a situation where there's always something better to get. Sometimes it's nice to have a carrot on a stick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's that carrot on a stick is for me, it's important, because there's that goal and that vision and that achievement, and when you have that, it makes appearing in lists and winning awards and things like that. It's very nice and it's very humbling to achieve those things, but we can't lose sight of the goal that we've set on.
So if there is anyone listening that's on their own startup journey, I mean, what's the best piece of advice that you could pass down that you've personally learnt along the way?
It's honestly, for people looking to start out, you have to understand that it's really one of the craziest journeys that you will ever go on. There's going to be constant setbacks and obstacles, and you have to make sure that you have an obsession. I mean, a healthy obsession, but you have to make sure that you have an obsession with what you are doing and why you're doing it. It's really important to have that vision at the end that keeps you really, really focused, because at times there's going to be things that are going to get you off the road a little bit, and you're not quite sure how to deal with them. But then once you remember what your vision is, what your end goal is, it gets you back on track. Make it a priority to visualize that end goal and understand why you win. And it just generally gives you the focus and the drive and the perseverance that's needed to get there. You'll always feel like you never know enough, and a lot of the time you'll be forced into making a decision that you don't have full visibility of what's around the corner, but you'll have to make it. So it's really important to be decisive. You can't sort of and ah and be indecisive about things. Being decisive is probably in my opinion, one of the most important things when it comes to it. And yeah, I know this might sound, a lot of people say this, but it's very true. Surround yourself with really good people that are just as hardworking as you are, and that are supportive, that are all completely driven by the same goal, by the same achievements, and who are really comfortable with the chaos that this journey brings, because it's very, very chaotic. It really is mad. It's crazy, but it's like a roller coaster. It's a thrill ride. You need to learn to enjoy it, learn to take it in your stride, and sometimes it's very counterintuitive, but a lot of the time you'd rather make a mistake than get something perfect done the first time round, because you can't learn from that. If you do something perfect the first time round, it's kind of like, okay, that went well. If you do something terribly the first time round, you'll force yourself to look at 50 different reasons why it went wrong, and then you know that the next time you're completely prepared. There's a quote that Jamil says. He always says, "Remember that the thrill of soaring always begins with the fear of falling." So it's normal to have those first initial stage hiccups, and it's normal to have a lot of fear, but it's what keeps you going.
Wow, inspirational stuff. But it really is. But a huge thank you for coming on today. But before I do let you go, can you remind the listeners of your web and social media channels?
Yes, of course.
Also, the best way to contact your team as well if they've got any questions about our conversation today.
Sure. So you can reach out to myself at misbah@wakelet.com. That's MISBAH@wakelet.com. If you've using the platform, you want to give some feedback or you need some support, email support@wakelet.com. And you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We've just started a weekly vlog in the office, which I'm sure you'd like to have a look at. Just kind of going through our day-to-day activities, some of the challenges that we face, some of the things that we get up to. And so far, we've had really, really good feedback. We're on the 5th episode now, which should hopefully come out tomorrow. If you check out our YouTube channel, Wakelet, you'll be able to find it there and get a better idea of what it is that we get up to in our time.
Fantastic. I will do. One of the things that I must admit, one of my big bugbears at the moment is I'm a tech guy and everyone's obsessing over artificial intelligence, machine learning, algorithms. But what I love about what you're doing now is you're bringing a visual web to life, but keeping that human element to it. And it's a very fine balance between getting the technology right and getting the human element right. But you guys seem to have mastered that. So I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Neil. And I look forward to being on here again.
Now, I feel we need to get Jamil onto the show at some point because I'm intrigued by how his startup story and being turned down for an investment over 100 times, combined with his tenacity, resulted in the universe giving him that nudge in the right direction. I'm fascinated by these stories and tales of serendipity, so I will be inviting Jamil onto the show in the next couple of weeks. And after our conversation, I created my own page over on Wakelet, and it really opened my eyes to the possibilities of this Wakelet platform. So, for example, I now have an individual wake for all of my cryptocurrency, cybersecurity, edtech, fintech, healthcare, etc. And for me as a freelancer, when I get approached for someone saying, "Have you ever written about cybersecurity?" I can now send them one link to all of my work about that industry and make it visually appealing too. And for me, that's a great thing and an invaluable tool. But have you used it? Are you setting up your account listening to me now? Please share your experiences and feedback how you're getting on with it by emailing me at techblogwriter@outlook.com or tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. So I'm going to go off and organise my content. I'm over on Wakelet now as our conversation seems to have unlocked an OCD trait in my character that I didn't realise that I had, and I just want to organise everything. So a genuine thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in today, but I will see you bright and early tomorrow. And until then, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.